today we're going to be working on the tank monitoring system. We have a tank tender right here, and when we got the boat, it came with two tanks, a diesel and a big water tank. And we've since ripped the old stainless tank out and put in two new plastic tanks, and haven't hooked up the monitoring system yet. What came with the boat was the tank tender, and it works off of air pressure, and there's a little valve and a purge button, and when you pump it up, it tells you how many inches of liquid sit in the tank. So obviously you have to know how deep each tank is. Our fuel tank was calibrated by the previous owner at 24 inches deep. So at inches of diesel, we're at about 8 inches of diesel, and there's two different scales to read off of. One is diesel and one's water. Our boat originally came with two tanks, one fuel and one water, and we've since taken out the old water tank and added a second. So we have three tanks. So I bought an add-on valve kit and some dip tubes that go to the bottom of the new poly water tanks, and I'm going to install these today.
The back of it.
So here's the back. This is the tube from the old water tank, and one that's hooked up here is the tube to the diesel tank. So with this, how this thing works is basically it pushes air through this tube, and depending on which button you push shows what tank you're measuring. And all it does is push water through, or push air through the tube that's hooked up to the back down to the tank, and then when you stop pumping, it releases it, and then the water, or the fluid, whatever fluid you're measuring, climbs back up the tube to a certain height, and then the gauge on the front reads what that is in inches. So the cool thing about this is that it's nice and simple. There's not a lot of stuff to go wrong. It's not electrical, it's all analog, and yeah, it doesn't use any power. So I got the valve. This is the new valve, and I had to change some of the fittings on it. Just take one out and move it over so that these would all fit together. They all jump back and forth, or one to each other like this, with these little deals on top. So the hoses all connect each valve together. Yeah, that's the price list. And
so how much is ours new?
The new one, ours would be a new 3-tank system. It would be $678. These are what goes inside each tank, and then you trim them off to length. And there's a little fitting on top. And then there's some a coil of flexible tubing that just happened to come spare with the boat. And it is, shoot, that stuff is like 50 cents a foot or something. Nylon tubing, 1/8 inch OD, 50 cents a foot. Tank penetration fittings. Each one of these I ordered because I had ordered 2 new kits. The old one that actually came with the boat broke off. I still have the old one that came out of the stainless steel diesel tank. I mean, freshwater tank. So these are $45 each. And then the add a valve kit, which is this third valve that I put in here and switched over to this side, the fuel side, was 70 bucks. It was a little cheaper from Fishery Supply. This is direct from Hart Systems, who makes the tank tender. So put it maybe right here.
So why can't you put it where you wanted to put it?
I wanted to put it where it was going to be a little bit protected from the... we don't have baffles in these tanks, so there's a surge control device you can add inside there. It's a little plastic thing that fits together and helps keep the water from sloshing back and forth, and it basically works the same as a tank without a baffle, or works the same as a tank with a baffle. So I wanted to put it kind of over here where it would be slightly protected from the by the dip tube. This dip tube goes from the suction point all the way down to the bottom of the tank, as does the tank tender. I was going to put it over there, but it doesn't look like it's going to fit right there. Alright, so now I got to tap the 1032 threads. Preferably going in straight. Good grief. Drill and tap. Comes with 30 inches of straight tubing. Cut tube off 1 inch above tank bottom. Tube end cannot touch tank bottom or sidewall, as will block air fluid passage. So I think the easiest thing to do would be stick this all the way to the bottom of the tank and measure how tall it sticks up, and then minus 1 more inch. So that's 5. So I need to cut 6 inches off. Yeah, that measures up flush to the bottom, and then each one of these penetration fittings has a O-ring. Just, there's a little push fitting, and you put this friction, when you pop it on, there's a little gripper inside. You push it in, and it's stuck.
Okay.
And then you push the little black collar, and it comes out.
Okay.
So this is Jenny's special coating technique. This is her idea, to label them 3, 2, and 1. So I don't confuse the hoses. Okay. Alright, so now we're going to test it and see what happens. So fuel's 24 inches deep. Tank 1, which is the first water tank, which is the
back
aft. 1 aft to forward, 1, 2, 3. So tank 1 is 25 inches deep. Oh no. Did I not hook something up? Nope.
Oh, good. I thought there was something else.
No shit.
What'd you forget?
The little tube. When I put all the valves together, I forgot to put this little tube back on the gauge. All right.
I say there can't be much to go wrong here.
So this one has 10, 12. Wait, it has 11 inches of water. Water is the inside scale that goes to 30. Diesel is the outside scale that goes to 35. So 11 inches of water out of a 25-inch tank. This one should only have a couple inches of water. It says 1, 2, yeah. Oh, okay. 1, 2, 3, yeah, 4 inches of water. It was pretty shallow. That tank's almost dry. That's the one we're on right now.
We know what diesel was before.
Diesel was, I forget.
About 8?
Yeah, right there, outside scale. There you go.
Okay.
There you go.
Perfect.
No, it was easier to add on to it. I think it was 168 bucks for the parts to do what we needed to do to add the valve and run the 2 new tank dip tubes. So it's mechanical, it's analog, it's simple, and they just work. I think I read somewhere they have like, I don't know, like 30,000 of these things in service. Thanks for watching. If you like it, give it a thumbs up, and if you're not already, go ahead and subscribe to our channel. Should I tell the funny little story about the water pump?